Good evening to the people who are here. Good evening.
Good
Hello,
evening,
Professor.
sir.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Good evening, Professor.
Hi.
Hi, Shoira.
Hi.
Hi, Fausia. See you in the chat.
Hello, Professor.
Hi there. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Sorry, Professor, I joined with my husband email. Yama Sharif is mine.
No problem.
Okay.
Do you know how to change your name?
I will change it. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Yeah, no problem.
I'm a Marcel, so I tell you if I couldn't change.
No problem. Remember, no attendance. You don't get points for coming. You don't lose points for not coming. So no worries about attendance.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
Professor, you're such good professor. Because last week I was in trouble. I had class on Monday and Wednesday. And I was on Monday in class. And like I say, Professor, I have for citizenship appointment on Wednesday. And I will not come. And she said, it's fine. Then she dropped me because of this. I was like surprised at like, what? Like I say to you, like, I mean, like, I never like, so like you said that, I'm just like, best professor even I see.
Wow, I'm very surprised.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear.
And I call it, and I texted her, and she said you was not in class. And I texted, I said I didn't receive any message from you. And like, I mean, like, and I say before I was sure, like, she let me. I mean, like, it's a citizenship. It's like you can't change any date. You can like.
I know.
I mean, like, and just like it was like first time for 4 years happens with me, and I was.
Goodness. Did you? So how did your interview go? Was your interview good?
I got citizenship. Finally,
Hey. What's congratulations? I was gonna say in Spanish it's felicidades. In Russian, what's congratulations?
Поздравляю.
Празднуная.
Поздравляю, yeah. Sorry, I'm driving. I'm going home. I took my brother because
Take care of yourself.
But like it's a really like I call it to counselor. I talk it and they say only a professor can get you permission. Like then I text it. She say okay, I will get you, but like you show it and then I say oh yeah, sorry, this week was crazy. I remember I was like for one day like even you say like professor and like if she say like hey like I was be ready like you know. But like she didn't say anything. She said, "Okay, yeah." I said like because this I waited for that day like 1 year and like I can't change date. I have to go this day. So like and she said, "Oh, okay, thank you. You let me know." And like then she dropped me. It was a surprise. And you say like if you're coming, you're not come. You are really kind.
I'm glad everything worked out okay. That sounds extra stressful, extra stress.
Yeah.
But I'm glad everything worked out and congratulations. That's great.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I finally when I came to United States, you can believe. I didn't know even alphabet because like I studied Germany in my country. I just started like I had some friends American, they oldest, but they teach me a lot. I just practice and I learn it. That's how I can speak. College make me and friends.
Amazing. I mean, I know I love my job. I love working with you guys. And I know so many students, of course, you guys work so hard to get the skills that you need.
Yeah, and like many like of my friends, nobody like gets from first time because it's really hard. Like too many questions. Like even I don't know like from my country about wars, about all president, all things happens. I just like studied probably one. I couldn't sleep. I studied and I was worried because I don't wanna come back again. Like it's like you cannot pass. You have to study again, then wait again. Then like.
Of course. Hi, I see Zuhal is in the chat just saying hi. Hi, Zuhal. Good to see you.
Hi, Professor. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Excellent. There. Kather or Hamid? I'm sorry.
Yes,
Kather?
yes, sir.
I'm just check my pronunciation. I'm glad, good to see you. I just saw you say hi in the chat. Hi there.
Thanks, sir.
Of course. Sudava's here. Always good to see Sudava.
Hello, Professor.
Hi there.
Good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Um, Professor, please, I have a question about the last week about the homework or the name or do something. I couldn't do it, and honestly, I don't know how to do it.
Did you try on your phone or on a computer?
On the computer.
Okay, and do you have Canvas on your phone too?
I have the app for the college.
Yes, and I only ask because, you know, every phone will have a microphone, right? So that you know you have a microphone. Some computers might have a microphone, some maybe they don't, but you need to make sure that you have something that can, you know, take and record your voice. But all you have to do, if you go to name coach here, again, I see something a little different because I already recorded myself here, but in the instruct, did you see at least here in Canvas, do you see here where it says name coach? Could you find this link?
Yes, and I clicked on it and I went inside until I got like Miss, Mrs., Mr., something like that.
Yes, then it is. Yeah, here it is. At the beginning, it talks about gender pronouns. That doesn't matter. And then it says, Mr. there, like you were saying, Mr., Mrs., that this doesn't matter either. And then we can record your name, phone, web recorder, or uploader. If you have a microphone on your computer or your phone, probably better to just say web recorder. And then once you click this thing here where it says web recorder, if you can see, then you see the button here that says record and you can start recording there. Did you see any of this or try any of this?
Honestly, I didn't click web recorder.
No problem. I think that my instructions are also old now from last semester. It looks like they did make a change or new technology or stuff like that. So I'm sorry if my instructions didn't look like how Canvas looks now, you know?
Yeah, it's a little different. So.
Perfect. So try that. And if you're still having problems, just let me know, send me an email, send me a text, and we'll figure something out.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Of course, thank you. I'm sure you're not the only person who maybe had the same challenge. Thank you. All right, we've got more Gus's here and Anna's here. Who else did I see come in?
Good evening.
Hi, Anna. Esther's here. Khalada's here. Great to see you all. We'll wait maybe 1 or 2 more minutes, then we'll get started. I do have a sort of, you know, not a lot, but I've got some stuff to talk about and introduce and show you today to get you ready for the lessons in Canvas this week. So like I said, we'll wait maybe 1 more minute.
Excuse me, Professor.
Sure.
I am Zainab.
Hi, Zainab.
Hi. I have a question. We have just one class in a week, or we have two classes?
One class, only
One class,
Tuesday night. Remember?
Tuesday.
Yeah, only Tuesday with Zoom with the whole class. Then if
Mhm.
you want to talk to me, if you want more help, if you need more practice, then you can come to my student office hours. That's all here, Zainab. So you can
Mhm.
come you can come on Monday, or if you want to come at a different time, just
Mhm.
send me a text or an email and say, hey, can I come, whatever, Monday
Mhm.
at 4 p.m. or something. And then this link, if you any day, so Monday from 11:15 to 12:15, Tuesday, like today from 2 to 4, I met with 2 students.
Mhm.
At 10:15 to 12:15, all you have to do, Zainab, is click this blue link right here, and
Mhm.
you'll come, and then I'll be there waiting for you and ready to answer questions and work with you.
Okay. And last week I couldn't enjoy the Zoom because I was at work.
And that's totally
Yeah.
fine. And remember, hopefully, did you get to watch the recording from last week, Zainab?
No, I didn't.
That's okay. If you miss a Zoom class, you should
Mhm.
always, here we are at the home page, right? You should always click this link here that says live support materials. This page is one of the best ones on the site. And here you see the date, right? Last Tuesday was August 24th. So here's the PowerPoint presentation. You can download, like here's today's PowerPoint, right? But you can always download my PowerPoint presentation, and then the Zoom recording will take you to YouTube, where you can watch everything from the last class. And also the YouTube videos have closed captioning. So if you want to turn on closed captions to make sure you understand, you can do that too.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yep. And I'll record and post every class, and it will always live here on the live support materials page. Ooh, a lot more people coming in. Great. Val's here and Arifa's here. Vanessa's here. Good to see you guys as you're coming in. Great questions. Hi, Mir. I know your voice, Mir. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, Professor. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Excellent.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
All right, well, we've got a good group here. It is great to see you and hear your voices. We've got 17 people here. That's pretty good. 18. Zuhra's coming in right now, so that's great. Let's go ahead and get started, because I am going to introduce some of the grammar, new grammar stuff, and we'll start to practice a little bit today. So it is Tuesday, August 31st. Here we are. It is great to see all of you. And here's the agenda for today. We're going to do a quick check-in and then a Q&A. And Zainab kind of did some of this, asking questions about where to find the Zoom recordings or questions about some of the stuff we talked about last week. That is great. I want to make sure you guys feel comfortable using the Canvas site, so that you know where to find the most important things in the site, because we're going to really start, we're really going to start doing some of the lessons this week and next week. And then today I'm going to introduce the parts of speech. This is really important. And I think even if you're kind of thinking, oh, I know what a noun is and I know what an adjective is. Okay. But I promise we'll sort of show this to you in a new way that will help you when you think about sentences, right? Not just one word at a time. So that's our plan for today. Here is our, I'm going to do small groups, but only just for a few minutes, you guys. So again, if you can talk, if you can turn your video on in the small groups, please do that. You don't have to, but here are the two questions that I just want you to talk to each other about. 5 minutes. We'll do 5 minutes. So one, how do you feel about the class and the lessons from our first week? So just how are you feeling? Talk to each other. And then two, is there anything you're still confused about or need help with for the class, right? For Zoom, for Canvas, for some of the technology stuff. I want to make sure we answer those questions at the beginning of class, and then it's grammar time. So does this make sense? What I want you to talk about in your small groups for just about 5 minutes? If yes, you can give me a little emoji thumbs up or just unmute yourself and say yes. Oh, yeah. Thank
Yes.
you, Rita. Thank you, Kader. Thank you, Kamgar.
Yes.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Professor.
Perfect.
Yes, Professor.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to put you into the small groups again, just so that you can say hi to each other. And then I will see you in about 5 minutes, and I'll answer any questions that you still have about the technology and all that good stuff. So let me get to the breakout rooms. We'll do smaller groups today of about 3 or 4 people. So you should get an invitation with opening the rooms right now.
Recording in progress.
All right, welcome back. I know that time goes fast, but I want to make sure that I can prepare you, make sure you are ready for the first grammar lessons. And I want to make sure I have enough time tonight. So thank you, thank you. We've got 2 more groups waiting to come back. So we'll wait just about a few more seconds here.
Recording in
Professor, I was trying to read at the book language power, but honestly, I didn't understand anything.
Okay, what and why? What I don't know. Tell me more.
I was trying to to do like work or something at the book, in the book for the first lesson, but I was trying to do it, but honestly, I didn't understand it. How can I do it, or I honestly, I don't know, like finding out what you're already know.
Well, is this because is this a vocabulary problem, or is this just trying to learn the grammar rules problem?
Yes, grammar rules problem.
Okay, that's fine. That's my job. I mean, that's my job to show you that stuff. That's fine. So I'd say 2 things, right? Remember, again, I'm here on the homepage. If you go to Professor Jeff's course materials,
Yes.
especially for the first 3 tutorials here, well, I've got many more videos than that, but here where it says parts of speech part 1, parts of speech part 2, LPT, that's language power tutorial 3. I've got YouTube videos where I'm reading the textbook to you and trying to explain it to you. So that's one way. And then of course, the other way is in these Zoom classes, I will always present the rules, the information that's in the textbook, and give us things to practice together. So if you started reading chapter 1 and we're still like, I don't know what's happening, that's fine. I'm going to talk a lot about chapter 1 and get you ready for it. And then of course, I hope that you'll watch the YouTube videos and they'll be helpful for you, because the last 2 semesters, students said that the videos were really helpful for understanding the text.
Oh, okay. I will listen to the video, YouTube video, because honestly, I didn't do it. So because I didn't know you have a video. YouTube video.
And remember, all this stuff here, this course materials page, I tried to work really hard to make sure that there's lots of support, lots of information, lots of stuff for you guys to look at. And again, most of it is stuff that I've made and I've created. So again, you feel like, I'm hopefully right there with you while you're doing the work for the class. So I don't understand the book. What should I do? I'm gonna mute. I hear some people that I'm just gonna mute. Remember, it's not personal if I ever mute you. I'm just gonna say 1, go to the Professor Jeff's course materials page, watch the YouTube videos that I made for each of the language power tutorials, LPT. So on Canvas, when you see LPT, that's just an acronym. That's just like a short way for me to say language power tutorials. Okay. Excellent question. Important question. I don't like that color. Hold on. And this is exactly the type of question that I want to answer here before I show you the grammar stuff today. So thank you so much for your question. Other questions at all? What came up in your groups? What is still confusing? What do we need help with? Canvas, Zoom, all that stuff.
Are we gonna read? Are we gonna writing every week, every week an essay, or no? You will send us an assignment.
Well, there's not an essay every week, and there's a discussion every week, but there's usually going to be at least one. It looks like a quiz, right? But remember, you get 3 attempts. So I'm not trying to give you low grades. I'm trying to have you practice the grammar rules. So there's usually a lesson or a quiz, at least one a week. But a writing, like an essay or even like a discussion activity, that's not every single week. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Professor.
Yeah. No. Other questions? Great. Cool. What else? Other questions? Ooh, no other questions? Everything else is perfectly clear. Everything makes sense. No questions. You know exactly what to do, huh? No, that's good.
Yeah, we are smart.
I love that. I agree. You know,
I don't know what to do in this class. We know everything.
I love that. I love that. Confidence is important. So again, if you're, that's great. Again, I'm happy. Those were two great questions. If everything else kind of works or makes sense, that's great. I'm just going to keep saying, if you're here with me in the Zoom right now, if you're watching this Zoom recording later, hi, it's good to see you. Please go to live support materials and please go to my course materials. I think that I made this change in Canvas to show you. In the modules, I also put here on, if you click on modules, you can find the course materials on the modules page here too, right? Usually this modules page is for the lessons, and I've got some new ones in there for you to look at. But I put this link to course materials here too, because course materials and live support materials, they're really helpful. So I hope you know where to find them. I hope you know where to find them. Okay. All right, let's get going. Let's do grammar stuff, huh? Okay, so remember, I see some people already, unmute yourself and just start talking, type in the chat, however, give me the, the emojis, whatever you need to do. But here, we're gonna start to introduce today's topic, which is parts of speech. So I've got 3 words on the screen. And here I say, look at the words below. What part of speech is this word and how do you know? So, Sacramento. What part of speech is Sacramento?
Noun.
Here, mostly I hear noun. Does anyone disagree? Sacramento is a noun. Disagree? Excellent. Okay. And we'll start to talk about this a little bit more today, of course, but how do we know that this is a noun?
Because it's a place.
Yep.
None.
The name of a place.
Yep. Usually what? We see this rule in many grammar textbooks. For English, we see a noun is what? A person, place, or thing. Right?
Thanks.
That's kind of the usual definition we see for Sacramento. Okay, this little letter, but even this little letter is a word by itself. What part of speech is this?
Article.
Article.
Good. And how do we know?
Because we put like before some nouns, right?
Now, whoever, I can't see everybody right now, but yes, whoever is saying we can understand the part of speech by how we use it in a sentence. Now you're thinking like we think in this class, right? What do articles do? They come before nouns, right? Do we know? I'm just curious. Do we know how many articles in English?
3. And the.
There's even one more that I'll scare you. I'll scare you a little bit later, but yeah, there's one more than that. Yes.
And the.
And we'll talk more about.
But.
We'll talk more. But is not an article.
But not.
No, but not.
Wait for it. Wait for it. We'll get lots of practice, Kamgar, so don't worry about it. And how about the last one? Nice. What part of speech is this?
It's adjective.
Adjective.
Adjective. Because it's describe.
Adjective.
And adjectives, what do they describe?
A noun.
Something. No, not
Noun
now.
pronoun.
Verb.
Ooh,
No.
okay, good. Well, I heard some people saying, ooh, adjectives describe nouns, adjectives describe verbs. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about this. Okay, great. So this is really basic. You've seen this stuff before, okay? And here's some things though that if you're, if you were reading Language Power Chapter 1 or Tutorial 1 and you are thinking, oh my goodness, what is going on? I don't understand. This is what you're going to see in that first tutorial is just a quick review of the different parts of speech. I want to make sure that we all get on the same understanding. We have the same understanding. And I wanted to show you some of these abbreviations, okay? So for the rest of this class, this is really important because if I tell you, oh, this is not an N, or this is not ADJ, or in this sentence, this is an AUX, I want you to make sure you know what I'm talking about. So even if you don't know what a determiner is today, that is totally fine. All I want you to see and remember from this slide is these are all of the parts of speech in the English language. We're going to look at all of them for the first 3 weeks of this class, and we're going to write sentences with them, but not essays, so don't be too worried. When we talk about them and when I show you them in this class, I'm going to use abbreviations. So a noun is N, just all capital N. And how about we said one example was Sacramento. Can I hear one or two more examples of a noun? What's a word that's a noun?
Hunger.
Anger?
Girl.
Hunger or anger? I'm not sure. Hunger is nice. That's called an abstract noun, right? Because it's an idea or a feeling and not like a person, place, or thing. That's a great one. I heard girl, I heard anger or hunger. Anybody else want to add one more?
Yes. Whatever.
Plate or bowl, yes.
Good. Yeah, last semester I could see some students just like looking around their room, right? Like chair. Oh yeah. Water bottle. Yeah, okay. Perfect. Okay, great. So nouns, person, place, or thing. Verbs. What are verbs? What do verbs do in a sentence?
Walk.
Doer of an action.
Good. I heard
Walk. Sit.
examples. I heard walk.
Eat.
What else did I hear?
Talk.
Run,
Run, eat. Good.
drink.
It's dinner.
Watch.
Everybody's verbs are dinner verbs. I love it. Beautiful. Okay, so again, verbs are the action words in a sentence. This semester, I'm going to call them the adjectives. We said
You already say beautiful.
hey, one of my. I think I use this maybe too much, but yes, beautiful is an adjective.
Nice.
Nice.
Attractive.
Attractive. Sure.
Great teacher, professor like you.
Okay.
Yeah, best.
Here we go. Okay, great. That's fantastic. Great. I love it. You might blush. I'm getting blush here. Okay. How about I'm sorry. Adverbs. What do adverbs do? So adverbs modify.
Describe the word.
Yes. Adverbs modify verbs.
Yes.
Verb adjective.
And
Lonely.
I'm saying this word, you guys, modify is another verb. Do we know what the word modify means?
To explain?
Explain is good. I should have made sure that we all understand the definition here. This is my favorite ESL dictionary website. It's called Learner's Dictionary. I'll put this in the chat and we'll use this all semester long. But this is my favorite ESL dictionary because the definitions are written for ESL students. So they're really easy to understand. And they give you example sentences, sometimes 3 or 4 example sentences. So here's the definition for modify. It's a verb. It means to change some parts of something while not changing other parts. So we can help you modify an existing home or build a new home. He modified the recipe by using oil instead of butter, or modify a plan. So modify has this meaning like change, but it doesn't really change, right? Because if I say it's a it is a what? This is a bottle, right? This is a bottle. Okay. But if I say this is a green bottle, it's still a bottle, right? The word
Used a different way.
the word green doesn't change the noun, it adds something. It gives us more.
It's like explain or more.
Explain is nice, right? There's not really one perfect word for this verb modify, but when I say that this semester, I just want to be clear. It's something like explain, change, add more information, right? So adjectives modify nouns. They give us more information about the noun, right? And I think people were saying this about adverbs as well, right? So adjectives modify nouns, adverbs modify verbs. What are examples of adverbs that you guys can think of?
Slowly.
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 Everybody slowly tonight. What's
Usually.
going on? Oh, I love usually. Great.
Quietly.
Sadly, it's two, right?
Lovely.
Lovely. Good.
How about
And
sadly?
very,
About which one? How about what?
very.
Really?
Very.
No, very.
Very.
Yeah, I love it. And how about this one?
Yesterday.
Yesterday, no.
Yes, it is. And we'll talk
Yes,
about
yes,
we'll
we
talk more
will say about adverb.
that.
Adverb of frequency.
It's adverb of time.
We're gonna talk about words that maybe don't look like adverbs or don't look like a certain part of speech for the next. Again, we'll spend at least 2 or 3 weeks with parts of speech. We go slow. We take our time. Because
And it's actually could show the date, right? Like you can say like Friday. Fridays could be two, right?
very interesting. For me, I think the answer is yes. Other teachers might disagree, but yeah, I think a specific day.
It looks like yesterday when like it showed it exactly it was yesterday. I mean, like it's explain Friday. Like you just show it like exactly specific like day or time.
Yes, and again, this class really we'll look at a lot of examples. So keep that example. We'll look at some sentences like that. Okay. Pronouns. What are pronouns?
We can use it instead of a noun like he, she, it.
Use in place of a noun, instead of a noun, or where you would use a noun or a group of nouns. I'm going to plant these seeds in your brain. A phrase is just a group of words. Okay, so maybe you can replace a whole phrase with a pronoun. For example, the blue water bottle is mine. I could say
it's mine.
Exactly.
Oh, yours, his, her, right?
Well, we're going to talk about possessive pronouns.
They.
And possessive determiners are a whole other thing. He, she, it, they, we.
He, they are.
Yes. Good. Now, has anybody seen the next one? Now we're getting into sort of the 310 level stuff here, right? Has anyone seen this word auxiliary or know what it is?
I
Can. Could.
Good. Good. And usually can and could
Should.
are good. Usually can.
Would.
Should, would, could. Usually, has anyone seen there's a special word for should, could, and would? Have we seen them? These are often called.
Oh, gonna.
Auxiliary verb.
These are often called modal verbs, right?
Or models.
See, different textbooks, different teachers, you might hear different things, right? But could, should, would, often
It's a models.
Modals, right?
Yes.
If you also think about the present perfect tense, right? I have studied English for 10 years. I have studied. What's that have? What do we call that?
That's auxiliary verb.
Auxiliary.
Exactly right. So again, different teachers, different textbooks, different universities might call modal. Sometimes we'll say, ooh, helping verbs. Ooh, auxiliary verbs. Ooh, modal verbs. For this class, and you're going to see more of this in Language Power Tutorial 1, okay? But modals, helping verbs, we're calling all of them are auxiliaries. Things that act like or help verbs in a sentence. And this part, you guys, is really important, right? So we need to look at the sentence to understand what's going on. So auxiliary verbs like could, should, would, we know that. And have, of course, but in English, be is also an auxiliary verb all the time, right? I am talking right now. Talking is my verb. Am is an auxiliary that we use to create the present.
Is, are, too.
Then are, right? All the be, and we'll talk again, lots of time for verb tenses, you guys. But remember, if you're thinking about auxiliaries can be changed for tense, right? I am talking, I was talking, I will be talking, right? So we don't need to think too much about that right now, but remember, auxiliaries just mean things that support or sort of we use to create the verb tense or the verb meaning that we want. And we'll take a lot more time with this next week. But does this basic idea make sense? Helping verbs, modals, or auxiliaries, we're going to call all of those AUX, auxiliaries, in this class. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Almost done. Almost done. Determiner. A determiner is articles plus, we'll talk more, plus a few other things. And all you need to know about determiners, though, for now is they modify nouns, and we'll look at these much more next week. On, the, and by the way, here's for people who.
What you say else? Something else? Some more
It's
more
some.
words. Some?
Some.
How about any?
Yeah, well, see now this, Ina, again, you're wait till next week. You'll be very ready for next week, because of course I don't want to scare you too much. I want to look at some example sentences here, but keep that question in your brain, not just Ina, everybody, right? But if you think about the words that we use to modify nouns, it's not just adjectives, right? We can say any information, some information. We can do a lot of different things, and very often, Ina, yes, those are what we call in this class determiners. For today, if you've never thought about that, or this is your first grammar class, don't worry. Just today, start with what we call articles. They're still articles, but articles are a small part of this bigger group called determiners, okay? All articles are determiners. So you don't need to forget anything or change any information in your brain, okay? Conjunctions.
But so
Conjunction is just like when we
But, so,
conjunct the
for,
words.
and,
Yes.
because.
Exactly. I heard the fan
But,
coming
but,
out. But I put down but, for,
sorry.
and, because, yet. We could do a long list, right? But remember, again, I'm just introducing this today before we practice. What do conjunctions do in a sentence? They
Joining two
connect the
sentences.
sentence together.
They link phrases and clauses, right? So we can have an independent clause and we can connect that to another clause with a conjunction. So I like sunshine, comma, and I like the ocean, right? Something like that. And is combining clauses, but we can also say I like sunshine and the ocean, right? In that case, the conjunction is just connecting two phrases, two single nouns without a verb in between them, right? So conjunctions can connect, can link clauses and phrases. Questions?
Professor,
Yes.
yeah, that is like conjunctions. If you say like in other hands, it's conjunctions, right? Or no?
No, and I'll show you what that is.
It's just like connect two sentences, right?
Yep. Actually, that we're going to talk about that a little bit later after parts of speech. But actually, that's a perfect transition. You said on the other hand, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. I want to use an example here. Did anyone have other people have questions about conjunctions? I thought I might have heard another voice. Anybody? Anybody?
How about or?
Of is this last one, just like Ina started with on the other hand, they about of
Even
In.
we need to see sentences. We need to see sentences for even. I need to see the sentence to know what part of speech it is in the sentence. Yeah.
even I like to study in the class, even it's hard for me, right?
Yeah. Yes, and that's probably going to be an adverb. We could talk about it later. This last thing where people were talking about on the other hand, or in, or at, or of, or by, or to, those little two-letter words that are so painful because should I say on the house? Should I say in the house? Should I say by the house? These are prepositions, right? And prepositions on, by, to, of, at, for, in. I mean, there are many, many, many. We could go on and on and on. But again, I'm just putting this idea in your brain, right, for the future. We don't need but prepositions start prepositional phrases. And Ina's example of on the other hand was perfect, right? We start with a preposition and then we get nouns after it, right? On the other hand. You could say in the house, in preposition, the article house noun, right? So what prepositions really do in a sentence is create prepositional phrases, but the words by themselves are the preposition: in, of, at, to, by, for. And again, we'll talk a lot more about them and see some examples about how we use them. But again, I know that I'm doing this very fast, but this is a little bit of a review. And I want to make sure, again, you understand when I type a comment in your homework that say, oh, you made a P-R-O-N mistake. I want to make sure everybody knows, remember this slide, right? This is where I'm explaining the sort of system that we're going to use to talk about parts of speech this semester. Okay. Does this basic information, does this make sense, or do we have questions?
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Thank you for reminding.
Makes
Yeah,
sense,
good.
Professor. Thank
Very
you.
helpful reminder, right? It's good to remember after some time away. Okay. Now, we're going to go back to parts of speech here, but remember in English, we need to think about the part of speech for the word by itself. Then there are also some grammar parts of speech here, right? Now, we don't need to worry about this too much, but we do have to think about subjects, verbs, and objects, right? So if I just show you this slide, which one is correct and how do you know? So an A grade she earned an A grade, earned an A grade she. Which one is correct?
He earned an A
Second
grade.
one.
Second one.
Second one.
Second one.
Why?
She earned an A grade.
Why? Why is it correct? You are all correct, but why?
Because
Because
according to the sentence, according it's first subject plus verb plus complement.
Good. I saw Zainab and I saw Fauzia. I think Kamgar saying the same thing. This has to be number 2, right? I'm going to cross this out.
Yeah, but like here is book later A, like it makes sense. Oh,
Yes.
in the second. I mean, like it's a correct, but I don't understand why here is A.
Yeah. Oh, because like an A, a B, or a C,
Is it
like
correct?
her score, like her.
Oh, see. Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense. Correct.
If we say, the way that we start to analyze and think about sentences in this class, you guys, is we always want to look for the verb first. So where's my verb? All 3 of these sentences, where's my verb?
Learn.
Earn.
Great.
Good. This is the action, right? This is what happened in the sentence. We start with the verb because once we know the action, what happened in the sentence, we can look for the subject. So who is doing the action in this case? Who is the subject of this sentence?
She.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, more things you'll see from the way I do this class. So subject,
Verb.
Plus verb.
great. And then how about where's our object?
Object, great.
An A grade.
Exactly right, because what did she earn?
An A grade.
Great.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And if we do it any other way, here we've got object, subject, verb. And here we've got verb, object,
And subject.
Right.
That's not correct.
It is not in English. I'm so sorry, not in English.
But in other languages, you can say like different, like you can like say not like English, like more specific by rules, like
In
you
fact,
know, like,
again, Ina,
but-
you are like my you're like my teacher's assistant, Ina, because this is exactly what I have on the next slide, which is to say, no, please, I love it. In English, word order in a sentence is very important for correct grammar. In English, it is almost always subject, verb, or a subject, verb, object, and you cannot change the order. But as I say here, as Ina was saying, for many of you, this is different than what you're used to. I couldn't get everybody's language in this slide, okay? But I tried to get the people from the most countries. So if you speak Persian or Dari, most Persian and Dari sentences are subject, object, verb. So verb at the end. So instead of Sarah wore red shoes, it would be Sarah shoes red wore, right? So Sarah, subject, object that she wore, and then the verb at the end. I hear some of my Dari and Persian speakers going, yep, yeah. And again, so just remember, if you're coming from Persian or Dari, this is why it's hard for you, right? It's a different system. I've also got a typical Russian is subject, verb, object, but the challenge for a lot of my Russian speakers is that in many different sentences and examples, word order is flexible and can often be verb, subject, object, especially if a sentence contains two verbs. My Russian speakers, I am told that this example makes sense. Does it make sense? Is it a good example?
Yeah.
Okay. Ina, yes. Yeah, okay. So again,
I'm not Russian, but I speak Russian.
Okay,
I'm not from Russia, but like I speak both of languages.
yeah, thank you. And I should just say any language that's got Russian grammar, because of course, you're absolutely correct. There are many languages that are connected to Russian or people from countries not Russia that speak Russian or Russian languages. So thank you, Ina. That's exactly correct. It's not just people from the country that is now Russia, you know. And finally, in Arabic, if you speak Arabic as your first language, Arabic is almost always verb, subject, object. But of course, this is from left to right. So here would be the Arabic script. And from left to right, it would be 8 verb, I subject, object. This is verb, subject, object. But of course, right to left, 8 I apple. So again, if you speak Spanish or Vietnamese or Chinese or a different language, forgive me for not getting your language, but we have so many speakers, Persian and Dari speakers, Russian or some Russian influenced language, and Arabic speakers, just so that you understand, right? This is a big deal. And especially for my Russian people who are used to Russian, I know at first Russian students are like, in Russian, I can move these words wherever I want them. I can put this word wherever I want. And in English, it's scary because it is very strict, right? Word order is very important for grammar. So just some more examples so that you guys can see. It's, you know, if you feel like you're still confused about English grammar, it's normal. You're coming from a language with a totally different grammar. It's all good. Okay, so let's look at some examples though of subject, verb, object. Hopefully this makes sense, and this is some review here. So subject, verb, object. Let's look at some sentences together. Sacramento is a very nice city. Where's my subject? Well, actually, I was wrong. Let's start with my verb like we always do. I thought maybe it'd be too easy. Where's the verb in this first sentence?
Is the verb.
Yes.
And then, so remember, English is subject, verb, object. There's only one word before the verb in this sentence, right? So it has to be the subject, right?
Yeah.
And it fits, right? Another always rule about English. English subjects will always be a noun. We already talked about Sacramento is a proper noun. It's a place. Good. And is there an object in this sentence?
Yes, nice.
Very nice city.
Is that an object?
No, that's adjective.
Yeah, it's an adjective. So what's going on there? Ooh, it got quiet.
City.
City.
There is no object in this sentence.
Yes.
No.
It is noun here.
Yep, there's no.
City is a noun.
Yep, and really, This, again, don't worry about this right now, but see this group of words, everything after the verb,
Is a
it's called a phrase. This is a group of words without a verb in it, right? A very nice city. If I ask you right now, a very nice city, what is this phrase describing or modifying?
nah.
Very.
Nice.
Describing the city, Sacramento.
Describing the noun.
Perfect. I heard Yama, I heard someone else saying all of these words. Remember, this is a key thing to start to think about in this class. A group of words with no verb is a phrase. So a very nice city, all those words together are a phrase and they go back to describe Sacramento, right? So this group of words, even though it comes after the verb, it describes the subject of a sentence. So what is it acting like, really?
Adverb.
I heard it. I think I heard Zainab. It's this group of words is acting like an adjective. But again, don't worry about that today. We're going to talk about noun phrases and adjective phrases, and we're going to talk about all that stuff this semester. But hopefully you understand, right? Even though this comes after the verb, it's not receiving the action, right? It's not like I wear red shoes. The red shoes are what I wore, right? This is a group of words that goes back to describe the subject of the sentence, and it's acting like an adjective. Makes sense?
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, how about some next ones? The weather was wonderful yesterday. Where's my verb?
The weather. Weather, it's a
Was.
Oh, was. Sorry.
First, verb first. That was my mistake. I said I asked for the subject last time. Good. And the subject?
Subject weather.
Good. Now, do we need just the word weather or both of these?
The
together?
weather.
Or what are we-
No, dates will be or the weather. I
Tricky.
think so.
That is the article.
It's tricky. Yeah.
But like in this sentences, I think that they goes
The-
together
the-
because the weather you can say better without the. I
You were,
mean,
and I already heard somebody saying these go together, right? So I think you're right. If we start, again, you're going to read about this a lot, but noun phrases, adjective phrases, groups of word that all go together. So whether we call this this whole phrase the subject, but remember, rules of English, subjects must be nouns. So if I, I don't teach like this, you guys, but if I said, oh, you must only give me one word, probably choose the noun, right? Choose weather because it's a noun. But this whole phrase, and again, you don't need to worry about this today, but this NP stands for noun phrase, is kind of acting like the subject of the sentence, right? Because we could replace this whole, both of these words with a single pronoun, right? It was wonderful yesterday. The weather was wonderful yesterday, right? Great. And do we have a subject? Do we have an?
Sir, when we're speaking about the yesterday, we specify them. So that's why we use that. That it's exactly, we are talking about the weather yesterday, which is past.
Yes. So so why do exactly? We have the word yesterday. That means we need to put the verb in the past tense. Absolutely. I'll ask you, Kamgar, do we have an object in this sentence?
The object is actually no.
Yes, good. Excellent. This is
Wonderful.
an adjective because what was wonderful?
Yeah, adjective.
The weather.
Exactly right. So this is just like the first sentence, right? Wonderful,
Yes.
back to describe the subject. And then yesterday, like I already talked about, is what?
Adverb.
Exactly right. This, even though it comes at the very end of the sentence, this is modifying the verb, right? It tells us
The verb.
the action of the sentence. Okay. How about this one? My sister bought a new house last year. Where's our verb?
Bought.
Bought.
But
I agree. So what's our subject?
My sister.
my sister.
Sir.
Good. Again, sister.
Sister, yeah.
So we'll, if we only get one word, we'll choose the noun, but like you guys were saying, these words do kind of go together, right? They definitely do. And then do we have an object in this sentence?
House.
Yeah.
Yes,
House.
new house.
Good.
Yes, house.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now we do have an object in this sentence because what did my sister buy? Oh, she
A
bought
new house. New
House.
is adjective, house is the
Subject.
that is also correct. So house is the noun, it is an object.
Object.
objective.
Again, if you start to think about phrases, which we'll do in a couple weeks.
Excuse me, Professor.
Yes, please.
Why the house is adjective in here, object in here, and the city at the first as a noun?
Okay, good. The short answer is because remember, an object, it doesn't just come after the verb. That's one test we can try, but it has to be about meaning. The object has to receive the action of the sentence. So again, sister buy house, right? The house gets bought. The house has some connection to the action of the sentence. But here, this verb is, it's not even really an action verb, right? Like there's no, it's not like standing up or drinking, right? It's kind of describing a feeling or a thought, right?
Oh.
So there's no, the city doesn't receive anything. Or again, if I say, I put on my red shoes. Oh, what did you put on? I put on the red shoes. We can't do that type of question with this first sentence, right? Because we're describing something, really. We're describing something. We're not saying what happened. Make sense?
Okay.
Does
Okay, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Does it help a little bit, Bibi?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, because if I say I am happy, cool, that's great. I mean, that's a description, right? But if I say I jumped in the pool, that's telling you, boom, something I did. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Professor.
Yeah, really important question.
Yeah, I didn't know about it. Thank you.
My pleasure. It's my job. Anybody else about this third sentence, questions or ideas? I heard someone think, I heard.
No, I don't know if we hear this question. I want to visit, but it's different kind of, it's like different, how to say that? I want to visit the Sacramento Museum. It's just like different kind of sentences.
Well, the last sentence is scary, and that's why we'll talk about it much more next week. But it's scary because this is how we actually talk. And these sentences, how we actually talk, are much more difficult to analyze than sort of ESL textbook sentences. So again, let's start with the verb. I want to visit the Sacramento Museum. Where's the verb?
Want and visit.
Mm,
Want and visit.
Visit.
I make you choose only one. Only one
Visit.
or
Visit.
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 I got bad news, everybody.
Want.
To visit.
I want to. Yes.
Want and visit, both of them is the verb.
No,
But why we didn't choose visit?
visit is not a verb, and the answer will scare you. So I'm not going to do it today. I'm going to scare you for like 3 or 4 weeks. Okay.
Oh,
But this is the thing in English. You know this now. If you're in 310, or even if you tested into this level, you know in English, there are many things that look like verbs, but don't really act like verbs.
I want to it's a verb, but visit is like in this sentences, it's not a verb.
Exactly right. And you're exactly going to my example, right? So for example, this is always my example sentence for this. Swimming is hard. Actually, even let's say difficult, because that's even clearer. Difficult must be an adjective, right?
Yes.
It's just
But in
we describe, it's a word we use to describe nouns that are difficult. So swimming is difficult. Here's my verb is. Difficult is an adjective. Swimming is the subject of the sentence. That means, again, in English, here is an always rule. All subjects are nouns. All subjects are nouns. That means swimming must be a noun. And if you took grammar 50, you definitely know about gerunds, right? They're ing words. They look like verbs, but in the sentence, they act like nouns, right? That's a gerund.
Yes.
And Donald's saying, oh yes. And gerunds are just one example of things that look like verbs, but in the sentence, they don't really act like verbs. Does that make sense? I know it's, this is, again, when I tell people that to visit isn't a verb, sometimes they're like, oh my God, what's happening? So don't worry too much. We're gonna talk about it. By the end of the semester, you will know what is going on. But this is, again, one thing that makes these sentences so difficult, right? You think you have a verb, you think you have two verbs or whatever, but it's not actually in the structure of the sentence. So I want to show you one more thing, and then I'll talk about my last point for today. Notice, if I put all of these words together, I want to visit the Sacramento Museum. Can I replace all of those words with a pronoun? Can I say, for example,
Yes, we can.
this? Can I say that?
I want
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
I want something. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
And if I say I want it, then do I have a subject and an object? Do I also, or excuse me, I have a subject and a verb. Do I also have an object if I say I want it?
Yes, you do. Actually, people
Yes,
talk like that.
yes, I do.
Yes.
Again, this is actually an object noun phrase. And
Yeah.
I don't want people to get too scared for week one. But remember, if I'll show you how to do this and why this works, but don't worry about it right now. If this makes sense to you, I want it. This is the same English sentence grammar. I want it as the sentence right above, right? The grammar in English sentences works the same way. And what happens in this class is I finally get to, you guys finally get to learn about clauses and phrases, which it's a little slow at first because it's totally new, but it will really help you when you're putting together your sentences. It will really, 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 really help you. Okay, questions about these examples? Anything at all? You're getting excited now. You're like, oh yeah. It's not just verb tenses. We'll talk about verb tenses, but it's not just verb tenses in this class. Okay, last thing I want to show you, and then I'll show you the lessons in Canvas and I'll let you get started. So here's the thing to remember. And again, if Zuhal was talking about reading the first tutorial or watching the video, the most important idea from the first chapter in your book is this idea of context matters. You need to see the full sentence to understand a part of speech. So if you look at this, we already did this, Sacramento, it's a subject and it's a noun in this first sentence, right? Sacramento is a very nice city. But how about this second sentence below, you guys? I want to visit the Sacramento Museum. We just looked at this.
It will be a subject.
Absolutely. And I gave you the
one,
verb.
One, two goes together.
Yep.
Or no?
I subject, want.
Want is verb.
One, two, a verb.
Yep. Now, just in this phrase here, to visit the Sacramento Museum, what part of speech is Sacramento?
Sacramento is a noun.
Museum is
Not. It's a noun.
It's usually a noun. But
in this sentence, it's a not noun. Like here.
In this sentence, what is it doing in this sentence? Is it just a noun by itself, or is it modifying another word?
Yeah,
It's modifying another word, the museum.
Yep, it's modifying museum. Museum, we know is a noun. It's a person, place, or thing. So in this case, I've got the word Sacramento. It comes before a noun and it modifies that noun. What part of speech is Sacramento in this sentence?
Objective.
I think it's adjective.
Adjective.
No, adjective, sorry.
Yeah.
Describe museum. Sacramento museum. What kind of museum?
Exactly. And you know, in Sacramento, we could say the Railroad Museum, the Art Museum, right? We could change. We could
Train museum.
The train museum, exactly right. We could change that word, but it's still going to be something that modifies a noun. And there's a classic example of this here. For example, in my linguistics program, they show this sentence to new students all the time, right? So this word, excuse me, wood is almost always a noun, right? It's a thing. Wood is a thing. But if I say wood house, now house is a noun.
And wood is
adjective.
What is the adjective that describes the house? Exactly correct, right? And these are little tiny baby examples, but just when you see in your textbook, when Professor Dana Ferris, she teaches at UC Davis, and I got to work with her. She's amazing. I love her book. I really think you will enjoy it. It's really helpful. This is why she says context is so important. You need to see the sentence to understand the parts of speech, right? Because even though Sacramento is usually a noun, we can see some sentences where it's obviously acting like an adjective in the sentence. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Professor.
Let me see, we've got 15 minutes. I want to see how much I can show you before it's in Canvas. What do I want to show you here? Yeah, I've got time. I'll finish these next two slides. Okay, so again, if this makes sense, excuse me, all this stuff here, again, if you're watching the recording, slide 11, slide 12, what I just talked about, those are the examples. So again, I want to make sure for my people who are here, any questions about these examples, because I'm going to show you one more thing to get you ready for the first chapter. So any last questions about these examples? Okay, so the last thing I want to show you before we start, before I show you the lessons in Canvas. In the textbook, Professor Ferris is going to talk about two different types of words for these parts of speech. Things called content words and things called function words. Here's how she explains this. Content words have meaning by themselves. So if you look up the word Sacramento in a dictionary, it might say, this is a city in California with over 1 million people who live there, right? There's a definition for it. Or a chair, right? A chair is something that people use to sit down, whatever. But function words are just, they don't have meaning by themselves. They are like glue grammar words that holds English sentences together. And again, helpful information here. Nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs, these are content words. They have meaning by themselves. Function words are almost always harder for students to learn and feel comfortable with because they don't have a dictionary definition. These are things like pronouns, articles and determiners, auxiliaries, prepositions, and conjunctions. So when in the textbook, in tutorial 1, she says content words, function words, that's all she's talking about, okay? That's all she's talking about. So if we look at this, let's go back to a really short and simple sentence here, right? So Sacramento is a nice city. So let's do content and function. Let's do parts of speech and either content or function word for the words in this sentence. So Sacramento, we already said, we've done this sentence before. So is our verb, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I say is a verb, is that a content word or a function word?
Content word.
The content word.
Function word, content.
Sacramento is a subject, which means it's a noun. So content.
It's a content.
It's a content.
Good. What part of speech is a?
It's a
Article.
it's a function.
Yes, it's an article. Remember, all articles are determiners. And I heard someone already say that means it's a function word. How about nice?
Nice
is
is
Nice is
adjective.
adjective.
It's a content word.
Good. I heard content and city.
And city is a
City
noun.
is a noun.
And content.
Excellent. Okay. So for lesson number 1, I think it's either lesson 1 or lesson 2. You'll just do what we just did, this type of activity. You'll look at a sentence and I'll say, oh, is this a content word? Is this a function word, right? So if you're unsure about that, just remember, this is it, right? This table is all you need, right? If it's a noun, it's a content word. If it's a preposition, it's a function word. Questions? Cool. I'm going to finish up these slides. We'll start to review some of the function words next week, okay? But we've got 10 more minutes and I want to show you the lessons that I posted in Canvas and make sure there's time for questions if we have them. So in Canvas, I'll show you the last slide here. So again, my suggestion that doesn't mean you have to do it, but in a perfect world. So before next week, you can do lesson 6, lesson 7, and lesson 8. I put all 3 of these lessons are about Language Power Tutorial 1, everybody. So again, if you go to the homepage and you go to course material, that means you only need to read or review LPT1. So again, if you don't have your book yet, you want to do the reading, all you have to do is click here and download the document. Then the PDF will open for you here.
And then we have to do, right?
And then I'll show you, I want to first, before I show you the quizzes and the practice, I just want to show you where to find the materials. So that's the viewing. And then here's where it says LPT1, parts of speech part 1, parts of speech part 2. If you just click the video, you can watch it here in Canvas, or you can click this link to YouTube and then you can watch it in a new window, whatever you want.
Excuse me, Professor, what book is that?
Language Power, our only text.
Oh, yes, the orange one, right?
The orange one. And so again, in these videos, everybody, where it says LPT1, LPT3, LPT24, that's where if you see on the video here, I'll show you. Right, so on the video, I read through that chapter with you. I sort of read it out loud. Then I'll try to give you some examples and really explain some of the most important information. So again, maybe as you're reading, you can listen along, or if you want to watch the video first and then do the reading, however you want to do it, right? That I just try to give you the resources and then you can use it in the way that works best for you. Okay, you guys? But again, before you do lesson 6, lesson 7, and lesson 8, you should read LPT1, either download this or read your chapter of your book, and then watch the video. This will help you, okay? And then once you did that, then we can go into modules. And here you see Language Power Tutorial 1, Tutorial 1, Part 1, Part 2. Oh, I need to fix this. That's my mistake. That should say Part 2. I'm sorry, you guys. But just things for you to see. Remember, no due date. This quiz is for 10 points. There are 20 questions. There's no time limit, and you get 3 attempts to try it, okay? So I know in Canvas it says it's a quiz, but what I really hope is that if you take it one time and you get 4 questions wrong, you go back, you look at your wrong answers, and you correct your mistakes, because I really want these quizzes to be a place for you to practice and learn some of the ideas from the reading. So hopefully it's not super stressful, right? There's 3 or 4, we'll see how much time we have, big assignments where, that's where your big grade comes. But these lessons, these quizzes in Canvas, they're really more for you to practice the new skills to get you ready for writing your own sentences, okay? Any questions about that?
No questions.
Perfect. Well, let's do, we've got, maybe we'll end up in like 5 minutes early, but let's do one more example here just to get you ready. How about, we'll do the auxiliaries tomorrow. Oh, this is what I want. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we will do.
Horrified.
I wish I have professor in all my classes like you who explain who has like emojis. I'm like, I mean,
No, not tomorrow. Thank you. Next week. In my brain, I know, because I feel like with Zoom and online everything, like my understanding of time is very different. So yeah, in my brain, when I say tomorrow, I kind of mean, ooh, next time I see you, you know, so next week. I'm so sorry for skipping. Okay. More examples. I forget who was asking about this earlier, but this was that example about, is this, this will be the last thing I talk about, then we'll go. Is it an object or is it a phrase? That's not an object. So my simple sentence, he is tall. What's my verb?
Is.
I agree.
yes, he is object.
Good.
And what
Yes,
kind of adjective?
Tall
Tall.
is,
Absolutely.
tall is adjective.
Exactly right. Tall is an adjective. How about this one? He opened the door.
Open is
Open the door.
Good.
He is
Door is
object,
object.
Good.
Yes, he is a subject.
and the door is
Object.
verb.
Absolutely.
The door. Oh.
We can say, right, this whole thing is that the both words are the object. The is a determiner and door is a noun, right?
Yes.
So we could say object, noun, phrase. That's what these words are. Now, I just wanted to show you this one more time because you might hear me say this semester something like action verb or linking verb. Now, linking verbs, sometimes they're called stative verbs. You might have seen that in another class, another textbook, but these are usually things like the be verb, think, feel, seem, right? These are words that aren't really action. They're not about someone doing something. It's thinking or feeling something kind of inside the body. And like I said earlier, usually it's to describe something instead of telling you something that happened, right? So if you look at these two example sentences, he is tall, he opened the door. Which he is tall is a linking verb or an action verb?
The linking verb. The linking verb.
And how about this one?
The action verb.
Action verb.
Action verb.
That's right. So we don't need to stress about this one too much, you guys. I'm teaching this to you because you might hear me say this semester, oh, this is an active verb or this is a linking verb. This is all I'm talking about. So let's do 2 more examples, then be done. I was going to say go home, but we're already home and I have class missed.
Is confused by teachers.
Seems is a verb.
Yep.
Verb.
She is an object.
Subject or object?
Subject.
Thank you. People do that all the time. That's very normal.
Object.
Confused is an object.
Oh.
Adjective. Adjective.
Adjective. Confused.
Adjective.
Is this action or is this linking?
Confused is a verb.
The linking.
Thank you.
Linking.
It's linking, right? Because it's describing how she feels. It's not describing what she did. But in the second sentence, she left class.
Yes.
I think confused is a verb.
Confused. Whoever said confused is an adjective. You were exactly correct.
Yes, it's adjective.
She seems confused. She was confused. She looked confused, right? Whatever verb, we could use these, we could choose different verbs, but these are linking verbs. They describe the subject. not the action of the sentence. That's why they are linking verbs. And that's why, again, you don't get an object, you get an adjective. But here we say she left class early. Early, I'll tell you right now, is adverb. Right, because it describes when she left. Because she was confused by the teacher's long lecture. Here, left is action, but she was confused in this clause is was linking or action? I'll tell you.
Was is
Linked.
Linking.
Exactly right, because again, here we have what? Adjective.
Yes.
Good. Now, again, I know I went really fast through some of this review. We get many more weeks to practice this. So if you're thinking at home, oh my God, what's happening? Or if you're watching the video like, I'm never gonna pass, stick with me. After the first 3 or 4 weeks, you guys, you're gonna feel comfortable and confident. And once you feel good about parts of speech, phrases, and clauses, then we go, because things start to feel much easier. So again, you won't see any linking or action questions in the quizzes, but you'll probably hear me say it this semester. So it's very good to know. So again, in a perfect world, if you have time, if you're not stressed, and if your kids aren't sick, and if whatever, stuff's going on, lesson 6, lesson 7, lesson 8, things will start to slow down a little next week. So if you can't do all of them, don't worry, you'll have time to catch up. And I will keep reviewing parts of speech next week. So we'll talk much more about parts of speech. We're not done with just one Zoom, okay, you guys?
Thank you, sir. You're really
Thank
good.
you.
Of course,
Have a
any
good
questions before I stop the recording? I'm just gonna stop and then I'll stay for a few minutes if you have questions. Bye, you guys.
Thank you very much. Have a